Hi everyone, I hope that you are hanging in there with this new online version of our class and are looking forward to drafting your analytical report, which is the last assignment you'll do for this class. And we're going to do it in a few stages. We'll first craft an outline, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So your next assignment is to move out of your research proposal and start working on the outline for your analytical report. This document that I've posted in our assignment for next week includes a template that you can use to start your outline. I'd like to use this short video to talk you through this document and tell you how you can use it. So what we have here at the top is an explanation of what should be included in the introduction for your analytical report. Also in this module is included a more detailed explanation of the introduction as well as an example from a student. The part that you'll work on is what our textbook calls the data section, which is really just the body of your report. So I'm going to say that one more time. The data section is just the body of your report. And what I want to point out about this handout is that depending on what type of analysis you're doing, this area over here on the right-hand side will let you plug in some topics into the data section. So first write your introduction, then depending on what type of analysis you're doing, you'll pull these topics into the body of your report and use the research that you've gathered so far, in addition to more research that you'll probably need to help you talk through these main sections here. So for example, if I was doing a causal analysis, again, I write my introduction and then I look over here and I'm like, okay, these are the topics I need to include in the body of my analytical report. And so I'm going to start building an outline that lets me develop and support each of these points. That's what you'll include in the data section. Please don't worry yet about your conclusion. We're going to move into the conclusion and recommendations after we do our outline. So leave your conclusion out for now. Just work on the introduction and body, again, using these topics, the body of your analytical report. On page 2 of this handout, you'll see a more detailed explanation of how you can develop those body sections using the template that I have on page 1. So depending on the type of analysis, start with kind of those generic or overall topics, then customize each topic to be specific to the thing that you're focusing on, and then finally develop each of those topics with evidence. So let me show you an example. Here I have, since I'm doing a causal analysis, I know that I need to use at least one of my sections of my body to talk about effects. In this example from a student, he talked about different types of effects from the Libby asbestos mine disaster, and one of those effects was health impacts. He also had a section about environmental impacts, but he's writing here about his health impacts first. So if you're doing a causal analysis, you might have 2 or 3 sections about different types of effects, or you might focus just on one particular effect. So again, the generic topic is effects. He knows, based on his research into this Libby mine disaster, that first he wants to talk about health impacts, okay? So he kind of writes out this first heading for his outline, and then here's what he's doing in the rest of his outline for that section. He's telling me about the types of evidence that he's going to use in that section. So he's bringing in some, probably some peer-reviewed evidence he already had from his annotated bibliography, describing the symptoms that people experience when they have lung disease, the health of residents in Libby, where that mine disaster happened, and then a case study of some families that were impacted by the disaster. So he might have already had all of this research, but then he's adding on some new research to help him support this section. So he's using some interviews with people who lived there during the disaster. He got that from the newspaper. He also is going to include a visual to show a map of the area around that mine and how that disaster impacted them. So again, he looks up here, he's like, okay, I know I'm doing a causal analysis, And I know first I need to include a section that discusses that mine disaster. Then I need to describe the effects. So I'm going to go through my health effects and environmental impacts that I know I want to talk through. I might talk about causes, or I might just stick with effects, right? So this is kind of up to you and your topic. And I'll give you some feedback about that in your research proposal. And then the solutions are probably going to go here in our conclusion and recommendations. So I might save those for my next draft and instead just focus on these areas here, okay? If you're doing a comparative analysis, these will help you build your outline. If you're doing a feasibility analysis, these will help you build your outline. Your outline, when you turn it in next week and get some peer feedback on it, will look like this: a topic, and then an explanation of the evidence you'll use. So here we go: generic topic, effects, my specific topics, health impacts of the Libby mine disaster, and then an explanation of the evidence I'm using in that section. As you start working on your outline, if you have questions for me, just reach out. We're building out from our scholarly research we had in our annotated bib, and probably adding additional research to help us support each of our sections. Let me know if you need help.